Hey y'all, I read this fantasy fiction book called Beauty, a retelling of the story Beauty and the Beast by McKinley. My favorite quote in this book, "Cannot a beast be tamed," is said by Honor, the main character in this book, who is also called Beauty. This quote talks about Beauty's courage she has towards the beast and her arrival to meet the beast for the first time. So imagine that you are the oddball out in your family and society. Instead of being the average girl who's in the house taking care of chores, you would rather be outside doing labor work or reading a book to gain knowledge. And this is very different in the 1700s women compared to today. So Honor, who was also called Beauty, was the youngest of her two sisters, Grace and Hope. Beauty was considered the average tomboy in her family, while her sisters were strikingly beautiful and extremely girly girl. Beauty always held her family on her shoulders and made sacrifices for her sisters and fathers no matter what. So one day her father announces that he's going to the market and that he wants to bring back each of his daughters something special from the market. Beauty asks for a simple rose while her sisters ask for expensive, extravagant things. And so her father says that he'll be back in a few days and that he's going to bring them what they want. So when her father arrives, he's petrified, and he tells the story of him getting lost in the woods and coming upon this enchanted castle. And so when he walks in the castle, he's greeted by a warm fire, and there's food on the table, and so he eats, and he just, makes himself at home. And while he's eating, he hears these lingering spirits in the house that you could hear them when the wind went by, and it would get chilly, kind of really spooky throughout the book, kind of a dark, mysterious kind of novel. So when he hears these spirits, he's like, okay, I gotta go. So he leaves the castle, and on his way out, he finds a rose garden, and he picks a single rose for Beauty, his daughter. And when he turns around, he sees this hideous beast who accuses him of stealing from his home. And so the beast tells him that he's going to lock him up in his castle forever, and Beauty's father begs and pleads with him to please not lock him up because he wants to go home and say goodbye to his daughters for the first time. So the beast said, okay, but in return, you have to bring one of your daughters back, and she has to stay here forever. So when Beauty hears the story, she immediately says, okay, I'm going. And she just shows courage throughout the whole book of her and her journey meeting the beast. And so when she meets the beast, she gets to know him day by day. And every night at dinner, the beast asks for her hand in marriage, and she's like, no, I'm not ready for marriage yet. And this whole book talks about the relationship between two completely different people, and them eventually beginning to trust each other and make sacrifices for each other, and they just have a simple kind of special love that not many couples have back in this time. This book is a great retelling of the original story, Beauty and the Beast. The author does a great job emphasizing very detailed descriptions throughout the book. There's a lot more detail added, and to really complete this novel. The pace of the book was a little slow for me. I kind of wanted things to get going, and they really didn't introduce the Beast until later in the book, and I would have liked to see more of the Beast throughout the whole book instead of just the end. And I would give this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And if you enjoy reading the story of Beauty and the Beast, I do recommend this novel because it gives a new perspective of the story because of all the added detail throughout the novel. So, thanks guys. I hope you enjoyed it.